Well, first of all, I just want to thank DJ and Laura for hosting this at your beautiful home here.
Thank you.
I understand you've been here for what, about a year now? Or
Yes,
something
indeed.
like that?
Yep.
Here in Falls Church, and I really appreciate everybody making the time tonight. This is kind of my old stomping grounds. Marie and I used to live in Falls Church.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yeah, when we first came to Virginia, it was at Skyline Towers. I don't know if you know that.
I think I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. But it then we had our first kids, and then we decided we had to move out. So that's when we came to Prince William County. Not Loudoun, sorry. But anyway, the campaign is going great. We really don't have any accurate polling data for the very reason that when you talk to the pollsters, it's very difficult to know who a likely voter is in a Republican primary, especially in an off-year election like this. Virginia, there are only 2 elections this year in the country of any significance. One is here in Virginia, and the other one's in New Jersey. And frankly, in New Jersey, we just don't have much of a shot. So all eyes are going to be on Virginia this year. My campaign, we feel like we're getting quite a lot of movement on the ground. We can sense it. We're getting a lot of PR. My campaign opponent, he's got more money than God. I mean, he's got a ton of money, and he's trying to buy the election. I don't think that works anymore, frankly. I think that what we're seeing today is the earned media, social media, new media outlets like Breitbart are even more important than they ever were before. And we're getting tons of coverage. We've got the best social media campaign in the country, or firm in the country. Harris Media, I don't know if you're familiar with
I'm not personally.
Vince Harris or any of you, but they're doing a great job. The issues have changed a little bit since the beginning. I never expected that our heritage was going to be as big of an issue that it really is. And when we went down there, I went down there with a conservative activist named Dion. We went down there, we had almost like 500,000 views of that speech in front of we got mobbed by all those protesters down in Charlottesville. I don't know, several dozen of them anyway, calling us all kinds of names, everything else. We had to escort Maria back to the car. But anyway, that is just totally taken off, because I think at the end of the day, people are having a visceral reaction when the left starts taking down the symbols of our heritage and our history. And we've been backing up for too long. For 40 years, 50 years, political correctness, it's been around, and it's been essentially stifling conservative speech. And that has me very, very concerned, because the left figured out a long time ago that if you can control the words, if you can control the dialogue, you control the argument. And what Trump showed us last year, I think, was you can stand up to political correctness and you can still be elected. That's what I've done in Prince William County 10 years ago when I led the board into adopting what is considered the toughest crackdown on illegal immigration anywhere in the United States. And people say, why, I got the whole thing. They called me every name in the book: racist, bigot, all that other stuff. And they said that just simply because we were enforcing the law. So far, we've handed over about 7,500 criminal illegal aliens over to the federal government. It's a very, very common sense policy, and works like this. If a police officer pulls somebody over and arrests that person for a crime, we're not talking about just a traffic violation or something like that, somebody actually had to commit a crime, we check immigration status of every single person who's arrested in Prince William County. Every single one. Regardless of your race, regardless of your ethnicity, the language you speak, none of that stuff matters. We check immigration status. And we have 660 police officers. Since we put this policy in place 10 years ago, we haven't had not one single case of racial profiling at all. So, I'm very, very proud of that. The crime rate came down substantially. It was about almost a 50% drop in violent crime in the next 2 or 3 years after we put the policy into place. Arizona adopted what we did. Arizona put the policy into place, and they've had tremendously good effect with it. And that is one of the things I would like to do in Virginia, because the top responsibility of every level of government is the protection of the lives and the safety and the rights of the citizens that we serve. And if we don't get this right, nothing else matters. We had a big problem with MS-13 in Prince William County 10 years ago. We really did. Of all the jurisdictions in Northern Virginia, we were the ones that probably had the biggest problem with MS-13. We put that policy into place, and I had this debate with Linda Chavez. Remember her? What a piece of work. But anyway, she came into the county and she asked all these questions, pretty much insinuating that we did this for racial reasons, etc. And I said to her, and this is all on tape, I said, look, we put this into place because the citizens of the county were concerned about MS-13 and other illegal alien gangs. 80% of, back then, and I'm sure it's still true today, 80% of MS-13 gang members are illegal aliens. So for these crimes that are being committed against young people in Fairfax County, and then up in Rockville, Maryland, and then just recently in Bedford, I don't know if you heard about this, MS-13 gang members, illegal aliens, abducted a 17-year-old Virginia boy. They cut off his hands,
Oh my God.
they cut off his feet, they mutilated him, and then they slit his throat. Now I hate to be so just gruesome about it, but we have to face reality. And we have to understand that when we put these policies into place, it's not because we have lack of compassion for somebody who's come here illegally. It's because we have compassion for the citizens of this state and for your families. And that it's our job to protect you.
You're here. You're here.
So, I'm just going to talk about one more thing, and then I'm going to take some questions from you all. You know, there are two tax plans on the board in front of the voters. One by my opponent, Ed Gillespie, and one by me. Ed's proposal depends entirely on this hope that revenues are going to increase in Virginia faster than expenses. That hasn't happened in a decade. That hasn't happened in a decade. So his plan, unless we get some unanticipated new revenues in Virginia, he's not going to be able to cut taxes one iota. Nothing. My plan, on the other hand, depends on cuts. Because I know that the only way you can seriously cut taxes is you have to cut spending. And we have a serious spending problem in Virginia. Serious spending problem. Prince William County, the very first year where I controlled the budget, we slashed the underlying budget by $185 million. $185 million. That put in place the biggest tax cut in the county's history. It slashed the average tax bill by $400 in Prince William County alone. And then we rebuilt our budget around the three core priorities of government: transportation, education, public safety. Even to this day, our tax bills in Prince William County are substantially lower than the rest of Northern Virginia, about 30% lower than the rest of the region. Sorry about that. But that's what we have to do in Virginia, and it's not going to be easy. Cutting spending is never easy, but it has to be done. And in Virginia, where we have kept the same marginal income tax rate of 5.75%, most small businesses, any small business owners in here? So, I mean, there you go. You pay, unless you're incorporated, you pay your tax at the personal marginal income tax rate. So the result is, the only way that we can give you a break so that you can keep more of your money, invest more, hire more employees, etc., is to reduce taxes for everybody, all income taxes. We're stuck at 5.75%. North Carolina, on the other hand, which had a top marginal income tax rate, now think about this for a second, of 7.75%. 7.75% in 2010. As of January 1st of this year, it's down to 5.49%. They have slashed it. And guess what? They have a budget surplus. We've been running shortfalls. So in Virginia, that's what we got to do if we want to bring jobs back to Virginia. If we want to make this a job growth state, and we've been losing about 10,000 jobs a year, we have to slash the income tax, and that's what I'm going to do as governor. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out here tonight. Be happy to answer any questions.